So the first one we're going to try here is the 2009 Alder Springs Chardonnay. Alder Springs is about 3.5 hours north of the Napa Valley, probably about 2.5 hours north of Knights Valley. It makes a very distinct, very different style of wine than what we can create here in Napa and Knights Valley. It tends to be a little bit more focused, perhaps a little bit more linear, a little bit cleaner profile than what we get out of Knights Valley and Napa Valley. The wines are made exactly the same. They're barrel fermented, put through full malolactic, but what you get is more the influence of the place and the varietal than you do of the barrel. You're tasting the style that that property is going to create. It's very clean, it's very crisp, it's very focused. This would go well with any kind of seafood, any kind of meal like that you want to have. Drinks very well on its own, but really for this wine to show at its absolute peak, I think it does need to have some sort of food accompanying it, which is actually, of course, the way most wines are intended to be had. Drinkable now, certainly, but should age very well for the next at least 3 to 5 years. The next one we're going to try is the 2009 Knightsbridge West Block Chardonnay. So the West Block Chardonnay is our estate Chardonnay. It's actually Clone 4, which is a cleaned up version of what we refer to in California as the Wente selection, which is one of the true old original heritage selections we use for Chardonnay here. This wine tends to be very plush, very rich, very round, very full in the mouth. It has great depth, great richness. It's almost a meal in itself. Treat this like you would a red wine, perhaps decant it, give it a lot of air, and then that should allow it to really blossom and show its best. The first red wine we're going to try is the 2008 Knightsbridge Estate Cabernet. Knights Valley is a very distinct sub-appellation in Sonoma County. This wine is medium to full weight. It has very nice sweet tannins. It does have that very typical Knights Valley graphite, tobacco, that sort of more earthy profile to Cabernet. This wine is going to kind of pull you in with subtleness and elegance. It's going to go great with any meal that you want to have. It's actually going to be diverse enough in its ability to go with food that you could even pair this with a fish as well as you could a steak. It's going to drink very well in release, but perhaps will show its best in another 3, 4, 5 years down the road, but it's beautiful right now. So the next one we're going to try is the 2008 To Kalon Cabernet. To Kalon, if you haven't ever heard of it, is one of the most historic vineyards within the Napa Valley. It's one of those ones that if you look at it and you just kind of look at the appearance of it, it may not look like that much, but it just happens to be at just the right place in the valley, on just the right soils to make some of the most remarkable wines in the entire Napa Valley. The amazing thing about To Kalon is that it has a lot of tannin in it, but it's not a tannin profile that you necessarily pick up as being dry or hard or astringent. The To Kalon tannin is very ripe, very sweet, very round. It's just your prototypical Napa big mouthful of Cabernet. Though because of that tannin profile and the acidity that that wine holds throughout the fermentation and in barrel, it still goes very, very well with food. These wines are all done in between 80 to 90% new French oak, mostly Taranceau and Darnajou barrels. They're bottled unfined and unfiltered, so what you're getting is the true essence of Oak Hill Cabernet. This wine, no problem, at least 7 to 10 years down the road, is not only going to be as good as it is now, but it's going to improve and deliver years and years worth of drinking pleasure. I've always loved tannin profile on To Kalon. So the next one we're going to try here is the 2008 Beckstoffer Dr. Crane Vineyard Cabernet. The Dr. Crane Vineyard is located just south of St. Helena on what is literally an old quarry. Located all around this vineyard is a tremendous amount of rocks. You see small pebbles, little grains, and then you even see little pieces of rock that they didn't bother taking out of the vineyard because it's just too much trouble. What Dr. Crane gives you is a wine that has tremendous richness, structure, frame. It goes great with pretty much anything you're going to want to have. The fermentation on this wine, what we tend to do on this is we ferment it a little bit warmer than we do the other wines. Because of the structure that this wine has, that warmer fermentation tends to give you a little bit more length, a little bit more roundness on the palate. It's a beautiful wine, and we'll see what it tastes like. This wine from front to back is just seamless. There's lots and lots of very dark fruits on this. The estate Cabernet that we make is more of the red fruit spectrum. The To Kalon Cab is a mix perhaps of the blue, red, shading over to the dark fruits, where Dr. Crane is basically all dark fruits. You get blackberries, black cherries, currants, almost like a roasted meat sort of style to it. It has incredible length, depth, and richness, and the ability to age, not just age, but also improve for at least the next 5 to 10 years. You can drink it now if you'd like to, but its best days truly are ahead of it.